Dr. Pedro M. de Japan is the world leader in the number of long-lived people. There, people over 70 climb stairs just as easily as they did at 40. This is not genetics. These are 6 exercises that Japanese people do every day, often without even noticing it, and only now is Western medicine beginning to understand why this works. Better than any pills. There, 80-year-olds walk mountain trails, work in gardens, and live completely independently. At the same time, according to the World Health Organization, residents of Western countries begin to lose leg strength after 50, and the loss of leg muscle triggers a chain reaction. It becomes difficult to stand up from a chair, climb stairs, and the risk of falls rises sharply. And it is precisely a fallen old age that most often becomes the point of no return to independent music living. But the Japanese have found a way to prevent this, and the most interesting thing is that their methods are completely different from what is recommended in fitness gyms. They do not lift heavy weights and do not run marathons. They simply live in such a way that their music daily actions subtly strengthen exactly the muscles needed for a long and active life. And now I will tell you about these 6 exercises, but let us agree right away. They music work only if you do them regularly. Trying them once is just an interesting experience, but integrating them into life means changing your future. But before we begin, music, write your name and the city you are watching from in the comments. I am very interested to know where people live who consciously take care of their health. Music. The first exercise is called the Asian squat or resting squat, and here is where the most interesting part begins. The Japanese use a deep squat not as an exercise but as a resting position. Imagine this. Instead of plopping down into a chair, they squat down and rest like that. They read, talk, drink tea, and do you know what happens? While they are resting, their quadriceps, hamstrings, music glutes, and entire core are working at the same time. In other words, a person is resting but the body continues to train. It is as if you were lying on the couch while your muscles strengthened by themselves. Researchers from the University of Tokyo conducted an astonishing observation. They compared people over 70 who retained the habit of resting in a deep squat with those who did not. The results surprised even the scientists. The first group showed leg strength like that of 50-year-olds. A difference of 20 years in biological age from just one habit. How to do it correctly. Place your feet shoulder width apart. Slowly lower yourself until your glutes almost touch the floor. Ideally, your heels should be fully on the ground without lifting, but an important point, in most Europeans over 50, due to the structure of the hip joints and a shortened Achilles tendon, the heels do not drop to the floor, and this is completely normal. If this is the case for you, simply place a rolled towel or a small block under your heels. This will protect your knees from overload and allow you to maintain the correct spinal position. The spine remains neutral. There is no need to excessively round the lower back or, on the contrary, arch it strongly. If you have never done this before, especially if you are over 60, start with support. Hold on to a stable chair or table and hold the position for just 20 seconds. Add 10 seconds each week. The goal is to reach 2-3 minutes without support. You will immediately understand that you are doing it correctly if you feel the muscles of your legs working, but there is no pain in the knees. If your knees hurt, it means that you are either lifting your heels without support under them or rounding your back too much. Fix this and everything will fall into place. This exercise gives much more than just strength. Blood circulation in the legs improves because the veins and arteries are in a naturally stretched position. It helps digestion because the internal organs receive a gentle massage, and it trains inner discipline, the ability to calmly withstand initial discomfort without giving up immediately. The most common mistakes. First, lifting the heels off the floor without support under them. This removes almost all the benefit and overloads the knees. Second, rounding the lower back too much. Keep light tension in the core. Music. Imagine that someone is holding you by a string at the crown of your head. Do this 3 to 5 times a day, gradually increasing the time. After just 3 weeks, you will notice that getting up from a chair becomes easier and your legs stop getting so tired during the day. The second exercise looks ridiculously simple. Balancing on one leg. When you stand on one leg, dozens of small stabilizer muscles around the ankle, knee, pelvis, and core are activated. These are exactly the muscles that save you from falling when you trip or slip. The Japanese do this without even setting aside special time. They stand on one leg while brushing their teeth, waiting for the bus, or reheating food. And here is what researchers found when observing elderly Japanese for 10 years. Music. Those who practiced balancing on one leg daily for at least 1 minute on each music side reduced their risk of hip fracture by 60%. The frequency of falls dropped by 40%, and 80% of participants noted that they felt much more confident in everyday life. How to do it correctly? Stand next to a wall or sturdy furniture so you can hold on if needed. Shift your weight onto one leg. Simply lift the other slightly off the floor. There is no need to lift it high. The main work happens not in the large muscles but in the small stabilizers. Start with 10-15 seconds with light support, 3 times on each leg. Gradually work up to 1 minute without support, and surprisingly, this exercise develops not only muscles but also reflexes, creating new neural connections. The body begins to react faster in critical situations. Common mistakes. First, lifting the leg too high. This tilts the pelvis. The exercise becomes harder but without any benefit. Second, tensing the shoulders. The shoulders should be relaxed. All the work is in the legs and core. The secret of stability is simple. Fix your gaze on one point straight ahead and slightly tense your abs. This makes maintaining balance much easier. Even 5 minutes a day in several sets gives a noticeable effect within a month. The third exercise comes from Japanese martial arts and is called the horse stance. This is one of the safest exercises for people over 50 because it is isometric. The muscles are tense, but the joints do not receive impact load, and there are no dangerous sudden movements. In the horse stance, the hips, pelvis, and core are actively engaged. A powerful support is formed on which the whole body rests, and the results are impressive. A study published in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science showed that elderly people who regularly performed this stance increased leg strength by 24% in just 12 weeks. Place your feet about 1.5 times wider than shoulder width, bend your knees, and lower yourself as if sitting on an invisible chair. The feet are parallel or slightly turned outward, the back is straight, the abdomen slightly drawn in, the weight is evenly distributed on both legs. You should constantly feel the work in your thighs. If you do not feel it, you have not gone low enough. If you feel pain in the knees, you have gone too low or the knees have moved forward past the toes. Start with 10-15 seconds for 3 sets a day, gradually increase to 1 minute and 1.5 minutes. The main mistakes are the knees going in front of the toes, which overloads the joints, or the pelvis being held too high, making the exercise uselessly easy. There should be burning in the thigh muscles, but under no circumstances should there be pain in the knees. If you have acute knee joint problems, it is better to skip this exercise and replace it with another. And before we continue, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, because regular access to proven health information is what truly changes life for years ahead, not one-time attempts to improve something. The fourth exercise is called mindful slow walking. This is one of the most underestimated secrets of Japanese longevity. The essence is to walk very slowly and fully be aware of each step. How the heel touches the ground, how the weight shifts to the middle of the foot, how the toes push off. This is not just physical exercise, it is simultaneous training of the body and attention. The Japanese often practice this in gardens and parks, turning simple walking into active meditation. Studies among Japanese over 65 have shown that after 3 months of regular mindful slow walking, blood circulation in the limbs improved by 50%, the frequency of falls decreased by 40%, music and dynamic balance, the ability to maintain stability in motion increased by 50%. How to do it? Find a place without obstacles. At first, even a home hallway will work. Music, walk for 5 times slower than your usual pace. Focus on the sequence. Heel touches the ground, weight transfers to the middle of the foot, push off with the toes, breathe deeply and evenly. 1 full inhale-exhale for every 3 steps. 3 minutes a day is enough for strength, coordination, and proprioception to begin to grow the internal sense of the body's position in space. Music, this is the ability that allows you not to fall in the dark and to catch your balance on an uneven road. The main mistakes are doing it on autopilot without feeling the foot or still walking too fast. Here, the distance covered is not important, but the quality of each step. If you have balance problems, start near a wall or railing, lightly touching it with your hand. The fifth exercise is calf raises. It seems elementary, but it is incredibly powerful for the calf muscles. Many people do not know that the calves are called the second heart of the human body because their contraction helps push blood upward against gravity back to the heart. In Japan, special attention is given to strengthening the calves after 60. These muscles are critically important for stability when walking, climbing stairs, and preventing falls. The Japanese do calf raises right in everyday life, standing in line, brushing their teeth, waiting for the elevator. How to perform them? Feet shoulder width apart. Slowly rise onto your toes as high as possible. Then smoothly lower back down. The entire movement should be controlled without jerks or swinging. Start with 2 sets of 15 repetitions. You can use support music from a wall or furniture. Then increase to 3 sets of 20. Maximum benefit is achieved if you pause at the top for 1 to 2 seconds. The most common mistakes are swinging and throwing yourself up with momentum, which turns the exercise into useless flailing or doing it too fast. Then the muscles do not have time to properly engage once you master the basic version. You can make it harder by doing it on a step so that the heels drop below the level of the toes or on one leg. This is a completely different level of load. Music, an additional bonus of this exercise. Blood circulation in the legs improves, the risk of swelling and varicose veins decreases, and comfort during prolonged standing and walking increases. Do it daily. It is better to split it into 2 or 3 short sessions during the day. The Sixth exercise is the wall squat. Music, this is one of the safest and at the same time most effective isometric exercises for people over 60. It heavily loads the quadriceps, music glutes, and core muscles, but without any impact load on the joints. In Japanese culture, it is associated with the practice of endurance, training not only the body but also the spirit through calmly holding discomfort, the ability not to give up when it becomes hard while remaining relaxed. How to perform it. Press your back against the wall. Place your feet shoulder width apart, about 30 centimeters away from the wall. Music, slowly slide down until your knees are bent at approximately a 90-degree angle. Music as if you are sitting on an invisible chair. The knees should be directly over the ankles. A study among Japanese aged 65 to 75 showed impressive results. After music 8 weeks of regular practice, leg muscle strength increased by an average of 14%, and the ability to climb stairs without fatigue. Music improved by 27%. Start with 15-20 seconds of holding 3 sets a day. Music gradually increased to 1 minute. The most common mistakes are holding your breath. Breathe calmly. Music and continuously, or letting the knees collapse inward. Keep them pointed exactly in the same direction as the toes. You are doing everything correctly if you feel burning in the front of the thighs, but there is no pain in the knees. To make it more difficult, you can place a small ball or a rolled towel between your knees and gently squeeze it during the exercise. And now a bonus. Music. This exercise is not for the legs, but over the past 10 years it has become incredibly popular in Japan because of its amazing benefits for the entire body. This is hanging from a bar. Everything is extremely simple. You need to hang from a pull-up bar with straight arms and just breathe. Music, but the effect is so strong, especially after 50, that the Japanese have included this in their daily practices. 3 main benefits. First, spinal decompression. The intervertebral discs get a rare opportunity to expand and absorb moisture. Pressure on the nerve roots decreases. Second, grip strength. After 60, it inevitably declines, and a strong grip is directly associated with longevity. Scientists have found a direct correlation. The stronger the grip, the longer a person lives. Third, shoulder mobility. With age, the shoulder joints stiffen. It becomes difficult to reach upper shelves or even comb your hair. Hanging gently restores range of motion, but a very important warning. If you have shoulder pain, osteoarthritis, or shoulder impingement syndrome, hanging should not be done. In this case, replace it with a simple standing arm stretch. Stand straight, stretch your arms overhead as high as possible, and reach upward while keeping your back straight. Hold for 10-15 seconds. Repeat 5 times. This will decompress the spine without loading the shoulders. How to hang correctly. Find a stable bar in a park, at the gym, or a home pull-up bar. Grab it with an overhand grip, hands shoulder width apart or slightly wider. Relax your shoulders. Allow your body to stretch freely. Just hang and breathe calmly. Start with 5-10 seconds. 5 sets with rest between them. Gradually increase the time. The most common mistakes are lifting the shoulders toward the ears and keeping them tense. Here it is the opposite: relaxation and stretching or holding your breath. The Japanese often do hanging in the morning right after waking up as a reset for posture for the entire day. Music. Try it. 5 sets for a comfortable time. Even if you start with 5 seconds, progress usually comes quickly. And one more important point. Hanging trains calmness and discomfort. This is a quality that Japanese philosophy highly values, and that surprisingly carries over into everyday life: the ability not to panic when things become difficult. Here they are. 6 exercises plus a bonus that help the Japanese maintain strong legs and an active life even after 80. The key here is not intensity but consistency. Music. It is better to do a little every day than once a week to exhaustion. Thank you for being with me until the end. Take care of yourself and your loved ones.